Hey guys, what's up? It's a man like me who's back at it again with a special introduction for a podcast preview for Air It Out with Mr. Dillon Stuart. Yeah, just so you know, Air It Out podcast is the video podcast for learning. It's the biggest thing on this side of the block since the dark web or canned goods. So just talking about today, we're just with Dill here, and Dill and I were just working and figured we might as well take our great conversation to the podcast because you guys were getting robbed of content.
Facts.
So Dill, why don't you just give us a quick introduction about yourself and we'll go?
Well, again, I'm just a creative mind, actively getting ideas into the universe. That's it. Like nothing crazy, nothing's like I try not to overcomplicate things. I simplify it.
Can you talk to me about that? Because like I'm the opposite. I literally complicate everything.
I'm very guilty of that myself. Like I'm a Virgo, so I'm a supremely analytical person. I overthink a lot of things.
Why do you think that has to do with you being a Virgo?
Well, not to get too deep, but like I feel like that the alignment of the universe basically affects my energy there.
No, of course.
So
I agree. I just want to know,
you know what I mean. So like that's my thinking. That's my reasoning behind it. But I'm very analytical, so a lot of my anxiety comes from that. So I try to simplify things. I try to take the hardest task that I could possibly do and try to think of it like what's the easiest way to get it done. And easy doesn't mean like I'm lazy, but it's like how can I do this with the least amount of effort and get the same result?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you kind of want to conserve your energy for like the bigger tasks.
Exactly.
And something interesting about that is like even how many decisions and choices you make in a day actively affects like how many more you're gonna make. That's why like my actual regimen, like when I was actually keeping to it, kind of fell off. I gotta get back because I wake up at 5, I do my workout, meditation, yoga, I open my instrument fast, and then I would wear a white t-shirt and black sweats, and I have like 5-6 pairs of black sweats and like 20 white t-shirts, and it's the same thing every day. And the reason I do this is because I limit the choices I make early on. I'd have so much routine and consistency that I would limit the choices I make. So when it's actually time to work, and I get to like my desk and I start working, it's like, oh, now I know exactly what to do, and I can come like ready to pull the trigger on everything I need to. Boom, boom, boom. And if you actually think about it, because like I like wearing different kinds of clothes and dressing like a certain type of way in different days. So it's like the way you dress, the way what you wear, like all takes a lot of time out of your day. Like I so much as go back and plan like what I'm gonna wear the next day and the night before, and like even then it's still taking too much time. So sometimes you just gotta simplify, like you were saying. And yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, Dylan and I were just talking about some really interesting stuff today, from all over, from like music to fucking everything in between, life. Yeah, cause
life in general.
Yeah, like it's interesting because art imitates life, but then life also like imitates arts in the sense that what's popping, what's hip, what's like socially accepted at the time,
right,
is what is like
it kind of influences. But that makes sense. I can see how they both influence each other. That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's because like I don't know, like the whole we were talking about like actually like breaking down why like music games like this, why certain things are glorified, is because it can be monetized. Right. It's because a black man going out and shooting another black man in the face in broad daylight is something cool if it's catchy. If a white boy did that to another white boy, it's a problem. If it's a song about another kind of violence, if it's about rape, if it's about anything like other vulgar, anything crazy, it's like, whoa, how could you say such a thing? Right. But if it's just blatant violence about not even at this point, it's less about just like race and it's more about just like subculture. Because there's hip hop culture and then more subculture now. Like, it's weird because like it started off a certain way. Like if you were a certain skin tone, or if you were dressed a certain way, the police would stop you, they'd question you, they'd move a certain way. But now it's like everyone wants to get affiliated with that. Yeah. So like everyone's getting that heat, and it's like you really do bring it on yourself.
But why do you think that is? Like, why do you think people are so drawn to this
because
stuff?
They want to live vicariously through others. Absolutely they do. And I say this because that's why my podcast, certain episodes do so well and others don't, because I speak of certain things from a first person account. And if you actually know me and you've actually done this shit with me and you actually hear my poetry and stuff and what I'm talking about, none of what I'm saying is a word of lie. Yeah. I'm talking from first person accounts, and the way I talk about it, like if you actually like been a part of this lifestyle, there's certain things you can't even know from the outside looking in. You actually have to live this shit to actually like, oh, yeah, you can't just know that. You can't just research that. You can't just go on the internet. That's a skill of the trade. That's a trick of the trade. You have to learn from actually doing it, right? 100%. And it's the vicarious living of people through others that's like, oh, I said this earlier, like, that's why a little white kid, and like, I'll use race because it's a lot about race now. A little white kid in the burbs can go throw up set signs and gang signs in the broad daylight and say all this nonsense on the internet and talk about bang this, bang that, set this, set that on the internet, and go home to his white picket fest suburban house.
Go home to his mom.
Who's gonna cook him a nice home cooked meal, a nuclear family, a family of 4 in an 8-bedroom house or some wild shit like that. And it's like, they have nothing to lose.
That's true.
They have nothing to lose in the form of like street credibility. They have nothing to lose in the form of like clout. And like people, that's something I want to talk about because like clout is a social currency.
I think it's probably a little bit deeper than that. It's not even that deep, to be honest. Like I think because we're naturally tribal by instinct.
Of course.
So we always want to
belonging.
Exactly. We want to feel accepted in the group, and when people see this culture as being something that they want to be a part of, they'll do whatever it takes to be a part of it.
And I can attest to this because I used to move and dress and act a certain way because I thought that was cool. I thought that was like who I was, and like I thought that was like that's what was cool. And like I was seeking validation from the people that were doing these things. And I say this because I sought validation from what I thought was socially accepted. And like that's fucked up because that should be not socially accepted at all. It's because I was in a type of love that was neglected from as a child because it's the actual deeper like if you actually have bros you trap with and do like fuckery with on road for years, like that's your brother for life.
Yeah.
Like shit could go wrong sideways, but that's your brother for life. You shared struggle. If you share struggle with someone, that's different. That's a different thing. That's why like we could have falling outs and stuff like that. People like change whatever, but like that's your brother. Like that's actually your fucking brother. Like if you actually sat. Bro, if you never sat there and fucking split a 5 for 2 juniors with your bro, and that's all you're eating for the day on road, going back and forth on some fuckery, because money had to go to gas, money had to go here, and you gotta stay on point with the budget. Like, if you never shared a struggle like that, then you don't know what it's like and why this kind of love gets so much attention and why it's so like wanted and warranted from people in these areas. Because block credibility is a real thing. Clout's a real social currency, and people,
especially now.
And thing is, like, it's a social currency people need to know how to leverage, as any currency should, right? You need 100%. To know how to leverage currencies for your benefit. And what people don't leverage with social currency is return of investments. Because they just flex it, clout comes. Clout's gonna come if you're good at something, if you're working towards something. Keep your head down, the clout's gonna come regardless.
Not always, because...
No, but see what's funny is, like, the clout that you think you want, you don't want.
Yeah.
The clout that you actually get, and it's not even clout, it's just reverence and respect. It's like, I rate what you're doing, It's like, that's not clout. It's like, because clout's like attention in the public eye.
Got you. I was just gonna say, like, there is a difference between a level of clout. Clout, I think, is like more... It's more of a facade. It's a facade. It's a character that you put on. But like real life, like respect and love, and those are the sort of things that are more valuable than anything else. You know what I mean? And once you can leverage that and use those relationships that you build out of respect and love,
social currencies, right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, because if you actually operate from a place of like love and passion for what you're doing, and we were talking about this on your interview the other day, like if you actually operate from a place of passion, and we were talking about this earlier, there's a lot of photographers out here that are like, bro, why are you giving raw files to the client and stuff? It's like, bro, I'm gonna take these fire pictures anyway. I'd be an asshole if I did like, no, I gotta pay more for these, because like, my job is, I'm running a business. I don't know about other creatives. Like, I'm running a business, bro. I'm not fucking pay me by the hour and get out of my way. No, I'm running a business. I want return business. I want return clients. I want word of mouth reference. I want my network to be built from the people I work with, not just online nonsense. So it's like, people will actually just do what they can to get a quick buck off it, and that's the difference between a creative and like a business owner. And like people don't run business. They don't do business in good dealings or good faith. That's why they feel a certain way when they see someone, because my prices are lower than others. I was telling you. Yeah. I still do free projects to this day. Do you think I need to? Not at all. I could sit here and make $200 an hour for headshots all day, and I can line it up and book it like I have been. But that's boring.
It is boring.
That's profit. That's operating from a place of profit, and I don't like that. Passion is when like, I kind of like the product line you're telling me about you're going to market. I'm going to look into that. I can do free projects for that because I'm passionate about those products. And I think that's what defines a good creative from a great, because a good creative will burn out if they are only loving it for like the profit. If they're only loving it for like what's coming back in.
Real like people that are always like pushing the boundaries and creating like groundbreaking art are the ones that are never comfortable with just the profit. Facts. They don't do it for the profit at all. Period.
They do it to be the best artist they can be, and that's no one really cares about that anymore. Cause like it's hard enough being a creative that's money minded. Because some people just do creative for passion, and that's I absolutely respect that because
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because you need to know where you draw the line as how you operate, and that takes a lot of self-awareness.
For sure.
Right? But then there's people out here that say, bro, nowadays I know more guys out here that say they're photographers for the clout than actual, like, they actually
There's a lot
like,
of those, like, the Instagram photographers.
Yeah,
like,
they just want to get like the
crazy.
Instagram models to work. It's like, what? It's like, you're a fucking dweeb.
You're a fucking weirdo.
It's like, bro, like, I have Instagram accounts. I have many Instagram accounts, but yo, each of them gets me paid. I don't care if it has 4 fucking followers or 400. Each of them gets me money.
Right.
And that's what people don't get. Online presence is important. But if all you care about is building your social media profile for the followers, likes, and comments, like, sure, you get the algorithm better than I do, but what are you leveraging that into?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you leveraging this love, respect, clout
Like,
into?
I've actually seen a couple, like, I've thought about this a couple of times, like, I just want to buy, like, accounts from people. Like, have, like 20,000 followers here and there. Like, I'll buy your account and just, like, use that and turn it to my own business.
Yeah,
and leverage
the following will drop, and then, like, all
whatever stays, whenever I start posting my own content, whatever stays is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to build off of that. So let's say I have like 20,000 followers when I buy the account, and it drops by half. That's still 10,000 followers I didn't have before. That's a whole entire new audience I did not have before.
Yeah, but see, the thing with that is, like, yo, so for example, like, the one social media profile I built up, like, from scratch was, like, my photography and design one.
Yeah.
And it has 400 followers now. But, like, yo, the amount of business I've gotten from naturally marketing and naturally promoting is ridiculous. Because, like,
sure.
It's not like I'm saying, like, yo, I'm a sick photographer, because, yo, I started off being shit at design and photography. Photography I kind of just has talent for, because I knew how to frame a shot.
Right.
And I built off that. Then I started actually learning how to...
Was it natural talent? You didn't, like, study it? Or
No, because I just took pictures on my phone since, like, a fucking kid. Like, I really just love photography on my phone. I went and got a fucking, like, a 6-month fucking paper degree or whatever from an online course on how to do phone photography.
Okay.
And then I started, like, getting into actual photography. And, bro, I would share my photography and my designs back then like they were fucking amazing because I was actually proud of them. And it came from a place of passion. I knew they were shit. I knew they were fucking, like, what the hell, why did this get posted? But, yo, I was happy because I made it. And because of that energy, everything I make now, yo, bro, there are days, I did a 30-day design challenge, and, like, I made so much fucking nonsense because I was trying something. I was trying what it would be like to go into a creative project with a plan and then just freestyling it.
Right.
When I freestyle it, it's like, bro, what the hell is this? When I went with the plan, it's like, oh, okay, like, I could do some damage.
Gotcha.
And then that's what really, like, was a defining difference of, like, yo, me being good and great is that I wanted to be the greatest I could be for myself.
Right.
Because, yo, I make so much dope digital art that I don't post anywhere because I like it.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy making it. It's not for other people. I don't write poetry for other people. If it was like that, I'd go make songs. I'd go actually make fucking top 40 Billboard hits. I try to do that at least. I'm not saying I even can, but I try to do that. But that's not me. I write poetry. I do this stuff for myself.
So do you see it as more of like an
creative
outlet, just express yourself, get it out? Like you feel like you have this urge to just get this art out?
It's more about I have these emotions and like that I don't understand. I have these feelings I can't like comprehensively place in a box because emotion we're taught to place in boxes, right?
Yeah.
It's either anxiety or like this, that. It could be different, an amalgamation of emotions. You don't know. So for me, it's more about just understanding why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And for me, a lot of that comes from like, yo, I talk about experiences, and it's like I heal through that.
Got you.
Right? It's like that's why the podcast comes help.
I was just gonna say that. Like my podcast is literally like a 2-hour therapy session for me.
Oh, yeah, is that long, eh?
Like sometimes like
the video ones.
Yeah, the video ones are 2 hours. 1.5 to 2 hours. So, like when I go, I talk. I let everything out, and once I leave my podcast, it's like I feel light.
Yeah, like something's been lifted.
I feel good. Like I feel like a sort of sense of like it's not quite euphoric, but it's like it's a high for me. Like I get that high from just doing my podcast and just talking for like 2 hours straight, and then just leave it all on the podcast, and then go in.
And then like when you actually go dissect that footage later, the content later, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, I literally I rewatch every single one of my podcasts. I'm like, bro.
Let's talk about that, because like we're all consumers of something at the end of the day, right? And like we all consume content at a different rate. I like to consume my own content, so I like to go by, look at like my own like photos, my designs, and like where can I improve. But like it comes from a place like sometimes I just admire my own work too much. Like I'm just still listening to the same bars like 10 times, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's like I'd rather now go listen to my podcast or the interviews because like that's actually feeding my brain good information.
Right.
So that's it's like a lot of it does come from intention and content. Like that's. Same thing we're talking about with drugs and everything, it all comes from intention. Like, my intention, last time I was here, I was watching fucking Naruto and fucking The Office, but my intention was to be entertained.
Right.
I couldn't sit still for more than 10 minutes, but like I wanted to be entertained. But then when your intention shifts to want to learn, you go seeking out resources that can teach you. You go seeking out, because everyone has YouTube, everyone uses it differently.
True.
You know, J. Cole said it best. Some people make millions, some people make memes. And that's a fact.
That's an absolute fact. But you can actually make millions from memes.
Yeah, you can make millions.
What was I going to say, though? Like, it comes to, like, intention, exactly. So, like, when I go back and I watch my podcast, I'm actually studying myself. I'm like, okay, how am I speaking? How's my body language on my podcast? Am I speaking too fast? Which I do a lot. I'm a fast talker. Same. I'm a terrible fast talker.
I think it's a sales thing.
It comes from sales, 1,000,000%. So then I'll go back, okay, cool. Next episode, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to use my hands a little bit more. I'm going to look at the camera if I have to. Everything is on purpose that I do in my life.
Intention.
Like, everything. Every single thing. Like the way I wear my shoes. I tuck my pants into my socks.
Yep.
Everything is intentional. I was going to leave my house without my watch. I went to go lock the door. I'm like, oh shit, I need my watch. Went back to get my watch. Everything is on purpose. I have to do it because it comes from being the God and creating of my own life. So it has to be on purpose. I can't leave anything up to chance.
Let's talk about that.
I think that's okay. Before I'm gonna preface this with like, it's like borderline psychotic. Like
no, fuck all that. Fuck all that. No,
I'm gonna preface it because I think it's because like you can't. It's a
taboo affiliated with saying shit.
I think so, but the level of control. I think it comes in comes out of like.
Let me start by saying
narcissism.
This.
Let me start by saying this
before you say this. In the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and bro, like even the Injil, which is another holy book, in all holy books, it is stated that God made us in His image. Mm-hmm. Go on.
1,000%. So it also said we're all children of God, but I don't know. Maybe I'm scared of my own power. Then maybe I can say that. Like,
absolutely, that's the thing. Though. That's the thing.
I'm scared of my own power.
That's the thing. People fear their own power and success, and you know why I say this? Because there are times where like I go back, and this is when like I just wake up or like I'm fucking high as shit burning out. Yeah. I go back and watch like something I wrote and I put up on YouTube, or I watch like a video or a podcast I made, and like at first I think it's me cringing at myself. Mm-hmm. But it's not. It's like, bro, this is fucking like I did this, and I fear my higher self. Yeah. That's why for me to say that, I can't say that I'm an incarnate of God is blasphemy. No, it's not blasphemy. That's not blasphemy. That's not blasphemy at all. I am an incarnate of God. I'm made in God's image, and we can all agree with that, right?
1,000,000%.
But people don't realize, like, people think I went to rehab and that's what changed my mind. Like, my mind was a dark fucking place before I went to rehab. And I'll say this openly because people need to understand this. My mind was a very self-loathing, dark, and depreciative place. It was a graveyard. You couldn't bloom anything there, right? So any seeds of abundance I planted would die. But that's because the soil was a problem, right? If a flower isn't growing, or a plant isn't growing, you don't change the flower or plant, you change its environment. The weathering, the watering, the soil, the heat, the humidity, all these factors.
You can't blame the seed.
No, you cannot, because the seed's gonna do what a seed does. It sprouts, right? If it doesn't sprout, it's not unjust to seed. So what I started doing is I actually started rewiring my entire brain from before I went to rehab, because I had the intention to rewire it. I can show you my journal after we can go back into my office. We'll say, July 16th, 2019, I am a student of life.
Yeah.
My goal, be a country with strong borders, which means don't fucking let anything in and out. People die for me to get high, which is absolutely true. You know how many fucking people get robbed, killed, and shot for the drugs to get down to this locust point?
Yeah.
And then stuff like, just simple stuff like al-mustaqim, which is like an Arabic or like a Afghan saying for true north. That's your alignment. It's true north, right? Mm-hmm. And then stuff like, just words of power and affirmations. I thought this shit was so corny before. I actually thought it was corny and like dumb, and then I saw what it does to you. And I was blown away because, it's very true. Like, your higher self is always listening to what you're saying.
1,000,000%.
So if you feed yourself thoughts of nonsense and like negativity and bullshit,
that's what
your life will be exactly that.
And it's so true, man.
If I went to rehab with a different mindset, I would not be in this position I'm in today. I'd say that right now.
Yeah.
I've been maybe doing drugs or still selling drugs. And the reason for that is that the intention was different. My intention going to rehab wasn't to stop doing drugs. And like people say, it was to get a break from the life I was living.
You know what's so crazy? Like when you say that, it's like if you look back at different phases of your life, like what you got is what you thought is what you got. So like let's say I was selling drugs, and like all I thought about was selling drugs. And I'm like, I need a new plug. You start meeting new plugs.
Manifestation. Literally manifestation.
You literally just walk in one day, you bump into the plug, like, shit, what God? Like,
my backpack for 40, don't worry.
Then I went to school for journalism, and then I thought it was journalism. I need to do this, I need to do that.
And I started
meeting more people that were in that.
Because you're putting it out to the universe that you want to receive this, right?
1,000%.
And bro, people, like, I swear to you, when I told people the power of manifestation, I actually manifested bigger re-ups. You can laugh at me all you want, but I sat there and when I started meditating, I'm like, yo, my goal is to move X amount of Y drug this week. And I did this because, yo, when I learned the power of manifestation, you literally bend everything around you to your will.
1,000%.
And that is why we are God incarnate, because everyone can do this.
1,000%.
Everyone does this. It's just like, yo, when we fear our own power, and someone that's in their own power and light and aligned with who they are, that scares people.
Yeah.
That scares people.
It scares me, like, but that's why sometimes I feel like I'm stuck. Like, I get to a certain level, like, I'll level up to a certain level, and I just feel like, oh shit, this is too much.
Why though?
This is
It's because you already gave yourself a ceiling.
Yeah,
you know,
and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I get scared and I pull back. But once I'm okay with it and I come to terms with it, I get to the next level. But it's my own internal
battle. But you know what it is? It's about foresight and hindsight, because when you have foresight about that goal, you realize it's not your last one.
Yeah.
But when you get there, the lack of foresight causes a lot of hindsight. So it's like, fuck, what do I do to get here? When you know what you're going, like, yo, I'll tell you guys an example. In when I registered my company in May 13th, in June, I realized like what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
And back then it was a little more like for different purposes or whatever. But like, yo, I knew that I have the kind of personality and I have the kind of resources and knowledge and know-how to win not only the Nobel Prize, but I could win like a Grammy, an Academy Award. I get on the Forbes magazine. Like, yo, all these like high like claims and stuff, bro, that like are insane to people. They're like, how the hell are you gonna do that?
Yeah.
And bro, I picked every high accolade I could ever think of and I put it on a board with a date, 2030 and 2040. People thought I was fucking insane. People literally DMing me, like, yo, you good? Everything okay? And I just laughed, because, yo, that's how self-delusional I was. And now, if you look at the time that's transpired from June to today, and you look me in the eyes and tell me I can't do that, I'll think you're insane. Because people have seen it with their own eyes, what I did in like 5-6 months, just by setting my ceiling that high. Okay, if I set my ceiling low, I would have hit my goals already. I'd been kick up. Probably in another country smoking on a beach, you know? Because that was a goal at the beginning of this year. Now it's like, why would I do that? That's so trivial to the life I want to live. Like a couple of weeks at a beach, I'm going to have a beach house.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like stuff like this is like, yo, people really give themselves glass ceilings. And like my glass ceiling, even like all those like those things, like they're not glass ceilings. They're things I know I'm going to do if I want to. And I could not want to anymore. That's the thing. Like, yo, people don't get you have to roll with their punches. Life changes. Like, yo, what you want today might not be what you want tomorrow. That's absolutely fine. I have a buddy of mine, I'm not going to say his name, bro. This guy finished school and got his degree. And he realized, yo, that's not what I want to do. I want to do. And bro, I respect that so much, because you're not gonna fucking sit there and take what you have and like you're gonna go struggle and hustle more to go get what you want. And I respect that. And bro, people are scared. They don't want to sit. Bro, if you can't tell your barber you don't like your cut, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. If you sit there like, yeah, it's good, bro, you leave, I don't want to hear it.
Facts.
Bro, people don't speak up. Like they don't stay with their chest like, yo, I don't like this. Like they're yes men, right? And bro, it's when you speak up and like you say what you don't like and focus on what you do like that this stuff starts coming back.
It's all about the focus. Like that's why like I wear this watch. This watch is a reminder to me. This is my first trophy, Armani watch. Like I remember when I was homeless, like I was like 18. I was walking through the bay and I seen the watches. I'm like, oh shit, that's a nice watch, but I couldn't buy it. And it hurt me. Like so, like I started like grinding. This is the first thing that I bought for myself because I thought it, I wanted it, and I worked for it and I got it. And even though like the battery doesn't work anymore, like, but I wear it as a reminder to myself, like of like where I came from and how I worked for the things that I actually got in my life now.
I respect that.
Like I can buy a new watch, like it doesn't matter. Like I can buy a new Armani watch, it doesn't matter. But I wear this because it's a constant reminder for me. Like this is what I work for. This is why I'm here.
Yeah, it's crazy because fucking I actually have like sweats and fucking t-shirts that I had in rehab, and that was like a look at camera says that was my only gear, like a few sweats, some t-shirts, some undergarments. That was the only gear I had to my fucking name, you know. And like I still have those things. I don't really wear them anymore because I have a lot nicer clothes, but it's like, yo, I keep these things as a reminder to remind me where I come from. When I had my own condo, like I would have like words and sayings that just said remember the days in fucking bright red permanent marker, because remember those fucking days.
I think that's so important.
If you don't, bro, you're gonna fucking get caught up in whatever nonsense,
and it's like,
and the ego and arrogance builds, and you lose it all in a second, bro.
What's that movie? Inception, when they have the fucking totems when they go into the dreams, and it reminds them that it's a dream.
Yeah.
They have like the little
keep them grounded.
Keep them grounded.
Yeah.
That fucking just blew my mind.
But people don't get is like Inception, all this stuff. Like if you actually like back to the point of like manifesting, like yo, that's how we are God incarnate in my humble opinion. I'll say it like that. All right,
going full circle.
Yeah, full circle like how, you know, like it's just so interesting because like people will take this stuff at an entertainment level, at
Yeah.
face value, and they'll be like, yeah, it's real, exceptional, I can do that, I can lucid dream. When you come to them with the science behind like affirmations
And how it
and
actually
theta
makes
waves
sense.
and why you say these things in the morning before you sleep and how it affects your sleep and like, it's like, nah, I don't believe that. It's like, you're a fucking idiot.
Words have power. Everything has a frequency
Yeah.
and it vibrates, and you're putting that energy into the universe. What do you think is going to come back?
And it's not even that, it's like, yo, a seed of thought is all you really need to manifest something like entirely, whether it be a person, like a whole, like you were saying, a plug, a romantic interest. It could be like a boss. It could be like a new job. It could be like a new opening at like the career field that you've always wanted, but you're at like an old job. It could be anything that you literally manifest from a seed.
Yeah.
But that seed, it's apparently it's this. I don't know if it's true. It's like, yo, if a seed is planted for like 30 seconds, it starts it starts coming to form. If it's in your head for 90 seconds, it starts manifesting to reality. And I know the power of negative thoughts. And like, I get negative thoughts all the time. You know, I'm human. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm perfect because I'm not. But I get negative thoughts too. And like for now, it's just like, yo, you know this. You're in sales, right? If you hold this bottle of water out and you hold it for a bit, you're not gonna get tired. If I sat here and held it for 10 minutes, I'd be exhausted. If I sat here and held it for a day, my arm would drop.
You'd fall off. Yeah.
So the longer you hold, right? Like, literally, the longer you hold onto something, like the more like energy you're giving it. Then
a million.
And that's just like that's the power of negative thoughts. They plant the seeds and they form and then they spiral out into toxic behavior and like, behavioral patterns of either self-loathing, self-destruction that I can speak to personally, or like patterns of either harming other people or like mentally or physically abusing other people. You know, like I've seen. And it's like, bro, like all this stuff really starts with a thought. And it starts with the intention. Your intention is to be petty and wallow in misery. You know, like misery is inevitable. Pain is inevitable. Misery is a choice. It's a famous saying. People, bro, I sat around complaining about my situation, my financial situation, my physical and mental situation, so doing the same shit for 7 years.
Yeah.
Feeling sorry for myself, expecting pity.
But how do you combat that though? Like, what comes first, the thought or the feeling?
The feelings are reaction.
The feelings are reaction.
Your feelings are intangible. People think feelings are either like you're happy, sad, guilty. Like no, like feelings are intangible. Feelings are emotion is a spectrum.
It's a response.
Yeah, exactly. It's a response in the sense like, yo, you will react, right? It's to get a reaction out of someone. That's why people say shit to get under other people's sense. It's to elicit an emotional response, right? So it's like an emotion is a reaction to an event or a thought. And if it's a reaction to your own thought, that's just like that's a very cynical cycle. You know, like no wordplay intended. That's a cynical cycle because you should feed into it. Because then your thoughts are gonna get more fucked up. You're gonna feed yourself more bullshit. You're just gonna be your life is gonna be bullshit.
And that's why I'm such a strong advocate of CBD. Because like I'm very guilty of that. Like very very guilty of that. I get into my own thoughts. I'm my own worst enemy. And like once I get into like a cycle of like overthinking and negative thoughts, it's like I get trapped. Like my brain literally is going a million miles per second, like all the time. Like thoughts coming in, thoughts coming out, a million times per second.
That's good.
But when I do CBD, it kind of slows everything down for me. So like I can take it in perspective. I can control my thoughts a little bit more, and I'm able to like control my feelings after that. That's why I asked you what comes first, the thought or the feeling. So your feelings are a response to your thoughts.
But see, like what people don't understand is like, yo, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness of the thought, and that's a fucking mind trick to actually think about.
But you control your own thoughts. Your thoughts aren't controlling you.
Yeah, no, but like the voice in your head that's speaking to you and giving you thoughts is not you. That's the ego. Your actual self is the awareness of these thoughts in your head. And bro, this is existing outside the actual paradigm that we live in, so it's like it's kind of fucked up to think. But like, yo, it's just some mind trip shit. Like, yo, you are not your thoughts.
That's
You're the awareness of your thoughts. Because like, yo, if you were your thoughts, you wouldn't be aware. If you were your thoughts, you wouldn't know you had thoughts. Because that's all you are. Watered down and it's fed nonsense and religion and stigma and taboo and all these other tangible it's come into play, X factors, that it's lost. Like I can't tell you if it's nature versus nurture at this point, because nature, we're all love. We are love. Like that's what our natural form is breath. We are breath. That's what yoga is. You don't do yoga, you are yoga.
I agree with that, but I also I have to respectfully disagree, because there is love for sure, but the balance of the universe is there's an opposite and equal reaction for everything. So if there's love, there has to be hate.
No, but see, that's not opposite and equal reaction. There's polarities, and what people don't understand about polarities is it's not black and white. Like we were saying before, there's no intrinsic or inherent evil, but you can do bad for good.
For sure.
You can do good for bad. So it's because that's a polarity, bro. It's not like it is evil or it isn't evil, it is good, it isn't
Right.
bad. No, it's a polarity. It's a pendulum. It's like a swing. It swing both ways. It could have the chain on one side and the swing on the other side. It could exist in two different spaces in time. You could be the savage Buddha, or you could be the actual light Buddha. That's what duality is. It's about polarity. It's not
Martin Luther King, does Malcolm X.
Yeah, but they're both facts, but they both see the same vision.
Yeah.
It's about how you go about it. Some people are a lot more realistic about it. And thing about fighting hate with love is that the more love you instill, the more love you're giving.
Yeah.
And that energy you should be really giving to yourself first, right? And it's like, that's why it's like seeing like a muddy puddle, like it's like throwing in some like detergent. Like you're good, and like that's not gonna work. It's like
not.
You're polluted to the core. You gotta really clean out your core. And I say this like, I know a lot of people that I cut off, that I grew up with, that are polluted to the fucking core.
Yeah.
And because of my love and soft spot for them, I couldn't see that until it was like too late. And I said, you're a disgusting fucking person. You're a sick, twisted person, and that's how you operate, and I don't want anything to do with that.
True.
And it's because people don't want to accept their darkness. People don't want to accept the shadow self, and that's the biggest problem. Like, we all have it. And for me, like, my shadow self is what actually helps me out these days. But my shadow self is a fucking slimy, koala motherfucker, bro. That's what sales was, I thought. Until I started learning, I should help people.
Yeah, exactly.
My shadow self is like, is my shadow self stemmed from what I thought was cool, because those are the influences I hung around with at an impressionable age.
Yeah.
So my shadow self stemmed from a reflection of their shadow self. We're all mirrors and projections, right?
Yeah.
So when it came to a point for me to be my own person, and I was like doing my own
like this,
I was like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was literally torn between like, do I go hit a fucking lick and grab a read, or do I go fucking get a job? But like I did both, and that's that's how I became who I am. I was working door to door, knocking doors for sick kids and stuff. I was tracking full time. And then like, that's who I was. I started giving myself identity and meaning, and then I started getting to the track game again, and I started losing myself more, and then I started trying to be too much and trying to be something I wasn't, and it came back and fucking destroyed who I had become, because I lost myself so much into who I thought I was.
I think we spoke about this a little bit earlier, but like, there's this book called Relentless. So this guy, Tim Grover, he's a trainer for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade.
Oh, actually my boy that fucking makes these dope necklaces, check him out. He actually recommended me that book.
It's a great fucking book. I read that book when I first started doing sales, but like basically
he reads it every year, I think.
I'm gonna read it I read it like 2 times a year at least, just to like keep in that mind state.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk books after too.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? But basically, he speaks about when you're that super like uber successful, and like, because like in the NBA, right? Everybody's good in the NBA, but what separates the good from the great is ethic and mentality. So they say that people at that level have their shadow self or their dark side. You can't be at that level in the NBA, especially in sports, if you don't have win at all costs mentality. And some people are gonna hate you for it.
That dog.
Like, fuck everything else. Either win or shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
kind of
get on board or get the fuck out of my way.
It came to a point where Michael Jordan actually ended up punching Steve Kerr in the face, and Steve Kerr played on his own team. Like, he punched his own teammate in the face because he wasn't going hard enough in practice.
Yeah, well, bro, that's just like that's that. You can't teach that.
You can't teach that.
That's an intangible quality you can't just teach. You can't just go to someone and be like, you're a winner. You're gonna want to win today. Yeah. It's like, nah, like you have to really come up from out of some bullshit and struggle to be like, nah, I fucking need this more than I need to breathe. And that's when like your success becomes your mission. It's when you need it more than like your next breath. It's like, there are days I talk so quick I forget to breathe. And I swear to you, like, and there are days I do so much I forget to breathe. And it's like, I gotta sit down, take a breath.
Like, I didn't realize I didn't even eat yet. Like, I didn't have breakfast yet.
Oh shit.
Like, that's why I have my fucking granola bars. Like, I've been working and doing so much shit since like 6 o'clock this morning that like my brain is like not even thinking about food at this moment. Like, until like I didn't even eat my granola bar yet. It's in my pocket still. But that's how my brain is going. Like, I don't think about shit. Like, I'm now that I'm kind of hungry. Like, now that I'm chilling, like I'm relaxed. But like, I don't know where I was going with that.
I think that's a good story. It's a good time to take a break.
You know what I mean?
Take a 5. He can have his granola bar.
Have some water.
Yeah, have some water and come back to it. Alright, after that long needed introduction stuff, we're gonna have to unfortunately cut it short. So that was a great conversation, man. I'd like to definitely invite you out to more video and audio podcasts. You guys can find this content wherever I feel like uploading it, because I don't have decided yet. Do you have any final takeaways for today?
I think going forward, especially with the new year coming up as well, is just do everything with intention. Be more aware, be more conscious.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway. For me personally, be know yourself and don't look outside to understand who you are. Look at what you're doing, what you enjoy. Don't look at the next guy. But I think with that being said, we can raise our lean double cups to the future.
My cup's empty, but
H2O, H2O. Alright guys, that's Mehus, and this has been Learn, Air It Out Preview. Best thing to happen to the blocks is canned good
hey.
and the web.
Perfect. Thank you, man.
Alright, perfect.